fans of Rajiv Malhotra ji after he has written his path-breaking book, Breaking India. I first invite our important people who are going to address us here. Can I please start with Shri K. Arvind Rao Garu, former DGP of Police in the United Andhra Pradesh cadre, who is himself a writer, who has translated a lot of books. Shri Shirish Gopeshwar ji, he is the president of the Telangana Pragya Bharati branch, who has been guiding us in organizing this entire event. Shri Sarangapani ji is the person who is transliterating the work into Telugu, the spoken and the written language in this part of the country. Professor Vijaya Vishwanathan ji, who has been the co-author, I request her also to kindly come and occupy her chair. Shri Rajiv Malhotra ji, kindly please come. In this brief visit to city of Hyderabad, Shri Rajiv Malhotra ji will be addressing different groups in different venues, which have all been shared with you. Across the country, we have got people who have admired his writings and who have always appreciated his way of thinking, where he brought fresh insights into the kind of developments which are outside the country but which impinge on the nature of how this polity functions. He has opened our eyes to some of these happenings outside the country so that the people within the country, all of us, we may have our own differences, we may have our own side of arguments, but as a nation, we are together, we want to remain together, we want to make it into a strong nation. But sometimes, unwittingly, the dialogue which develops overseas, it begins to dominate our narrative in this country, and which can always draw some schisms within the country. So this knowledge which Sri Rajiv Malhotra ji has been bringing has always enabled thinkers, writers, columnists, political thinkers to understand the ramifications of some of this ideology which is coming from overseas and see what is its relevance, context, and how do we tackle this nuisance to see that the country's unity is not broken. So it is that perspective which he has been building in all of us. And Pragya Bharati, as you know, is an organization which has always lent its platform for such discussion, to bring unity in our thinking, to understand the essence of diversity, and to take a path which is acceptable to all. Pragya Bharati, in association with Bruhat, is organizing this program of Sri Rajiv Malhotra ji. Several people have come forward to support us. The list can be quite long. We will be paying our gratitude to all of them at the appropriate occasion. I welcome all the members of the press to the conference today, and may I now request Shri K. Arvind Rao Garu to give us the context of the visit briefly before we start the discussion with Sri Rajiv Malhotra ji.
Thank you, Subramanian ji. I am very glad and I feel privileged to welcome Sri Rajiv Malhotra and Professor Vijaya ji here to this Hyderabad city. Rajiv Malhotra ji has been visiting India for the last several years, and first of all, I will tell you my acquaintance with him. About 12 years ago, I read his book, not first book, already he had written some books. I read his book called Breaking India, about 11 years ago I read it. And when I first read it, having worked for about more than 34 years in the police department, and that too in fairly senior level, I felt ashamed that I did not know so many things which were written in that book. Because he told about several aspects. He described several ways in which the country was being attacked. So we are not aware of it. We are aware of some limited sphere here. In fact, I personally felt that he had done a phenomenal work. What the intelligence agencies, the central intelligence agencies have to do, or what probably the foreign officers have to do. So much of intelligence collection was there, and he had written certain irrefutable things in that. He had made some strong comments on certain people who were Indian citizens only, but then who were helping outsiders, and then who were helping the Breaking India forces. So he had written something about them, and so far no one has challenged. And he had written that he had done adequate research about those things. It is not as though he made some wild allegations and all that. He did a lot of research, and then he produced all those details which were never challenged. So that was my first experience with Rajiv ji, and thereafter I had an occasion to personally meet him in the Swadeshi Indology conference in Delhi. So that is my acquaintance with him. Then if I have to introduce Sri Rajiv ji, so he has been in America for the last 50 years or so, an entrepreneur, an IT person, basically an IT person, artificial intelligence. So his basic subject is that. And he also ran some companies, made some good money, but not for himself, but he was also a good donor to several universities. And in that process, he came to know, he got acquainted with some of the professors in the universities. And we all think that professors in the universities are very, very noble people. But then there are also people who have various plans. The professors in America and other Western universities, they have got their own agenda. They have an agenda to analyze a country, analyze what are all the fault lines in a country, and then see how the countries can be broken and how they can exploit the resources of that particular country for the benefit of any Western country, let us say. Not only America, but any Western country. So usually that is the approach of very many professors there. So he, incidentally probably, he got in touch with all those people, and then he discovered that there was some massive plan, or not only one, several massive networks which were operating against the interests of India. So it was at that time that he further did some research into that, and then he brought out these books like Invading the Sacred and Breaking India. Then again, thereafter he wrote another very well received book called Battle for Sanskrit. The Battle for Sanskrit. The Battle for Sanskrit is again something to do with our culture. Basically, if you want to denigrate a nation, if you want to destroy a culture, one way to destroy the culture is to give a dog a bad name and hang him. So that is the policy. So that way you denigrate the culture by misinterpreting the text and then giving all types of wrong interpretations. So all those things he studied. And then again later, one of his recent books is Artificial Intelligence, how it is going to change our lives. And then again, artificial intelligence also in the context of the national security only. And that other book, Breaking India, again he is in the context of national security. And again his recent book, Snakes in the Ganga. Of course it has nothing to do with the snakes or with the Ganga. It has something to do with the people who are sitting in Western universities. Very high universities, so-called highly respected universities called Ivy League universities, and then who are having who are having their own agenda to break various countries. So how those people are nurturing a particular atmosphere, nurturing some people. So we know these are all the old techniques only. We all know that our own Niti Shastra, whether it is Kautilya Niti Shastra or Kamandaka Niti Shastra, we are acquainted with the things called Sama, Dana, Beda, Danda. So this Beda, how to create divisions within a group. in a targeted group. So that is what exactly they are practicing. There is nothing new, but then we were totally unaware of it. In fact, it is our job to know. It is our job to know. As I said, it is the job of all our intelligence agencies to know it. It is the job of our foreign officers to know that. But unfortunately, we probably skipped that. So it went upon Rajiv ji to, the burden fell on probably him to study them and then to sensitize us. I really feel that he is a person who has opened the eyes of so many scholars in India, particularly Indologists. What is the role of Indian scholars? What should we do? And as Subramanian ji said, we are all having one common interest, that is preserving this nation, preserving the identity or integrity of the nation. So that is, from that point of view, his books are very, very relevant to us. So that is the general, the brief background. So this, tomorrow and day after, there are different sessions. Tomorrow in the forenoon, there is a session in the Hyderabad Central University. Probably the organizers, our Pragya Bharati people, have already circulated the information to you. Tomorrow the meeting is on the challenges, various forces at play, challenges for a rising India. So that is the subject matter tomorrow in the forenoon. And again in the afternoon, in the Institute of Public Enterprise, the subject is almost same. And then there will be a discussion with Rajiv Malhotra ji and Vijaya Vishwanathan ji. And again on 15th, it is organized by one organization called ABRSM, that is Akhila Bharata Rashtriya Manch, Vidya Manch. So, Shikshana Manch. So they are organizing one meeting at the CES, or there is an ICRT. Yeah, there is an ICRT building. Then again in the evening there is a program, 15th evening there is a program called Pragya Puraskar. This Pragya Bharati along with Brihat, another organization named Brihat, is organizing this whole event. And this Pragya Puraskar is a Puraskar or award given to eminent people every year by Pragya Bharati. So that award presentation will be there for Rajiv ji on that evening, 15th evening. So for all these things, invitations, the attendees, they have to register, and then they have to, on the website they have to register, and then they can attend. Attendance is absolutely free, and all are welcome. I request all the members of the media to cover this in a perfect, in a proper manner. And basically it is something which has to do with our national security and national interest. So there should not be any sort of misunderstanding about it. In fact, he also writes about the divisive elements within the country. So that also will be there. So even those people can question, because when we have a meeting, all types of people will be there, questions will be there, and Rajiv ji will be ready to speak to them, discuss with them, explain to them as to what are all these forces, etc. So with this, I leave the stage to Rajiv Malhotra ji and Vijaya Vishwanathan ji. Thank you.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. ఇప్పుడు సారంగపాణి గారు వచ్చి ఒక 5 నిమిషాల్లో రాజీవ్ మల్హోత్రా గారి యొక్క ఆయన పరిభాష, ఆయన రాసిన గ్రంథాల గురించి క్లుప్తంగా, అలాగే ఏ విధంగా ఈ చర్చ మన ప్రస్తుత సమాజానికి ఉపయోగమో, ఎందుకంటే వారు ఇంగ్లీష్లో వీరు రాసిన కావ్యాలని తెలుగులో దాన్ని ఆంధ్రీకరిస్తున్నారు. అందుకు వారిని 2 నిమిషాలు మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం. రాజీవ్ మల్హోత్రా గారికి, విజయ విశ్వనాథన్ గారికి స్వాగతం. స్నేక్స్ ఇన్ ది గంగా పుస్తకం చూసినప్పుడు, చదివినప్పుడు అందులో చాలా చాలా లోతైనటువంటి విషయాలు ఉన్నాయి. అసలు అన్ని విషయాల మీద అంత విస్తృతంగా వారు ఎలా పరిశోధన చేశారు, దాన్ని ఏ విధంగా పాఠకులకు ముందు తీసుకొచ్చారని చూస్తే చాలా ఆశ్చర్యం కలుగుతుంది. అది చాలా భయం కూడా వేస్తుంది అందులో ఉన్న విషయాలన్నీ చూస్తుంది. హార్వర్డ్ యూనివర్సిటీ కేంద్రంగా భారతదేశానికి వ్యతిరేకంగా జరుగుతున్నటువంటి కుట్ర గురించి అందులో చాలా విపులంగా చర్చించారు. అక్కడ పుట్టినటువంటి క్రిటికల్ రేస్ థియరీ ఆధారంగా క్రిటికల్ గ్యాస్ థియరీని తీసుకొచ్చి దాన్ని భారతదేశానికి ఎగుమతి చేసి భారతదేశంలో ఉన్నటువంటి బలహీనతలను ఫాల్ట్ లైన్స్ను దెబ్బకొట్టడానికి చేస్తున్న ప్రయత్నాల గురించి వారు ఆ పుస్తకంలో రాశారు. అట్లాగే చైనా, సౌదీ అరేబియా, అమెరికా ఈ మూడు కూడా ఏ విధంగా ఒక రకమైనటువంటి కల్చరల్ సబ్జుకేషన్ కోసం మనల్ని ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నాయి అనే విషయం కూడా వారు చెప్పారు. అలాగే రకరకాల నెట్వర్క్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఓమిజిఆర్ నెట్వర్క్ అని. అలాగే మీడియాని ఏ విధంగా కంట్రోల్ చేస్తున్నారు, ఇండియాలో ఉన్నటువంటి మీడియాని ఏ విధంగా కంట్రోల్ చేస్తున్నారు, ఏ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఏ వ్యక్తులు చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ రోల్ ప్లే చేస్తున్నారు, వీటి గురించి కూడా వారు ఆ పుస్తకంలో చాలా విపులంగా చర్చించారు. అలాగే బ్రేకింగ్ ఇండియా 1కి బ్రేకింగ్ ఇండియా 2కి మధ్యలో ఉన్నటువంటి ఇంపార్టెంట్ డిఫరెన్సెస్, క్వాలిటేటివ్ డిఫరెన్సెస్ను వారు తీసుకొచ్చారు. అప్పటి బ్రేకింగ్ ఇండియా శక్తుల కంటే ఇప్పటి బ్రేకింగ్ ఇండియా శక్తులు చాలా బలమైనవి, మేధోపరమైనవి, చాలా వ్యూహాత్మకంగా వ్యవహరిస్తున్నాయి. సో వీటిని ఎదుర్కోవటం, గుర్తించడం చాలా కష్టం అన్లెస్ దెర్ ఈజ్ ఎన్ అవేకనింగ్ అమాంగ్ అవర్ సెల్స్. అలాగే ఇంకా వారు చాలా విషయాల పుస్తకంలో చర్చించారు. చాలా ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి విషయం ఏమిటంటే మన దేశపు కుబేరులు ఏ విధంగా హార్వర్డ్ యూనివర్సిటీ